What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Berlin. You're watching Wild Fed Family, and I got something really cool to show you today. Now, I'm going to show you a food that you can grow to help your food grow more food. Sounds a little confusing, but let me give you a hint. That's right. Today I'm going to be digging into the hive to do a hive inspection, and I'm going to talk a little bit about pollinators, what they can do for your garden, and, well, there's bees, so let's talk about honey too. Now, the first thing we got to do is get this smoker rolling, and you can get all sorts of smoker fuels, pellets, stuff like that. But to be honest with you, there's free stuff everywhere around that you can pack in your smoker. I typically use pine straw because we got a lot of that here in Georgia. That works really well. I mix in some leaves, small sticks, etc. That keeps my smoker burning for a long time, long enough for me to get in there and get out and still have plenty of smoke left. Now, the smoke does two things. It blocks the bees' ability to communicate with each other by blocking their pheromones and covering up that scent, and it also moves the bees. So if you want to get the bees off the frames so you can grab them, give them a little puff of smoke, and the bees move for you. Well, I got smoke, so let's tear into the beehive. Quit talking. So all I'm doing now is just getting smoke in the area, giving a little bit of smoke at the entrance to the hive to rise up, so they are not able to talk. So I will say I'm not an expert here. This is my first hive that I got this spring, and just wanted to add that disclaimer. But I got it for pollination reasons. So pretty much what I'm doing here is breaking down this hive. I do this once a week during the summertime, in the spring, when it's warm enough to the point where it doesn't chill this beehive. And what I'm looking for is healthy bees. And by healthy bees, I mean they're drawing out the comb, the hive is growing, and I'm seeing fresh eggs and comb stored away. So on this first frame that I pulled, there's a bunch of bees, and all they're doing is drawing out comb, making more storage space to further grow their hive. One more reason that I do this is I'm making sure that the bees have enough room to grow. So that was the very outside frame. This is the second one in, and you can see they've drawn out that comb and they're starting to store nectar in there. Same thing on the back side, and pretty similar on the far side of the hive as well. So they have about 3, maybe 4 frames that they can still draw out, so they have enough space to the point where I don't have to worry about them swarming, but they're also filled out enough to the point where I'm thinking about adding another box on top and giving them more room to grow. So let me give you a closer look here. This is closer to the center of this top box, and when I pull this, gosh, this thing's heavy. Pull it gently, and what you can see there is all cat brood. That's all baby bees that are ready to be born. You can actually see some larvae right there, and that part of the comb broke, but all of that is baby bees. Some of that white stuff that you see right there is honey, and that is future food storage for those bees. So when I'm doing this, I'm looking for a couple different things. I'm looking to see that the bees have food stored away in the form of honey. They have cat brood, which means the queen is laying eggs. They're taking care of the eggs, and this hive is growing once those hatch. I'm also looking for, you see the unfilled Sorry, I had to be on my hand. You see the unfilled comb, and there's a shiny glossy stuff in it. Well, that's nectar, and that is what they are dehydrating to the point of turning it into honey and capping it up for food storage. Another thing that I'm looking for when I'm pulling these frames is cells like that, and you can see it looks like little specks, little grains of rice in there, and the more mature ones are almost like a C-shaped maggot. With these fresh little tiny eggs, that tells me that the queen has been laying today, and she is in here somewhere doing well because she is reproducing and increasing the population of this hive. Check that out. These bees have been super busy since last week. So the bees will continue to draw out the comb on the outside frames on this top box. As soon as they get anywhere from 6 to 8 of those frames fully drawn out, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put what's called a honey super on top of here, and the bees will naturally start working up into it and storing their honey. So that food is going to be for me. Everything in these 2 brood chambers is plenty of room for the bees to store enough honey for their use. They have plenty of cells for pollen. They have plenty of cells for that queen to go around and lay eggs, as many as she wants. And by the time that those are hatched out, there's going to be a new cell ready for a replanting. So pretty soon here, I'm going to start putting some honey boxes on top. But the top box looks good. It's healthy. It's seeing all the signs that I want to see. So I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom box and just make sure that I don't have any sort of infestation, whether it be mites, beetles, etc. I just want to put my eyes on everything, make sure they're doing well, and we'll cover them back up and let them keep doing what bees do. Now, I got this hive this spring, and the reason that I got it was so that my garden would have plenty of pollinators in order to, sorry, I thought I saw the queen. So that my garden would have plenty of pollinators to go around and keep all the flowers pollinated, and therefore I get more vegetables, I get more fruit. Now, I've been coming out, and especially in the mornings, I'll check my garden, and the big yellow squash and zucchini flowers are absolutely loaded with bees, which tells me that they're doing their job. As well as this loaded garden down here, or lower garden down here, I have peas that have done phenomenal this year. Not to mention, one of the days that I was over by my persimmon tree, I heard and felt just this crazy vibration, and I looked up in that tree, and there had to be 5,000 of these honeybees up there sucking all the nectar out of those persimmon flowers. It was actually a pretty cool thing to see. That orange stuff that you see right there is pollen, and that is the bee's primary protein source. One more thing that I'm looking for when I'm checking these frames is for queen cells, and the queen cells will typically be towards the bottom of the frame. To be honest with you, I've never seen one. I've seen pictures of them, but I figured I'd at least check, because that is an indicator that the bees are running out of room or resources, and they're getting ready to find a new home. And I don't want that. I want their home to be right here, so I make sure that they do not try to form another queen, and if they do, I'll have to do something about it. Right now we're good. One more cool thing, that higher raised cell, while we're talking about cells, is actually a drone cell, and that's a male bee. The cells that are capped like that, level with the comb, that's going to be your female worker bee. So right now I just finished going through every single frame on the bottom box, and this inspection is done. All the bees look to be healthy, doing well. The queen is laying eggs. They have plenty of food storage and plenty of baby bees that are on the way. So let me put this hive back together, and we got one last step before we're finished. All right, so you probably noticed these white things at the hive entrance. These are feeders, and what I have is 2 mason jars of sugar water that I'm about to put on top. So this is all it is. I got 2 lids here with tiny little holes that are punched on each side, and I'm gonna swap the lids out on these, and all that does is it just drips sugar water into these trays, and I mix this 2-part sugar to 1 part water, and the bees store that away and turn this into honey. Now I will say you don't want to use sugar water when you have honey boxes on top, because all you're getting is sugar water honey rather than honey from the natural nectar that they're collecting from all around while they're foraging. But I got a lot of bees that are trying to get back in the hive right now, and they're not really a fan of me squatting down here right at their hive entrance. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these bees fed and get out of their way so that they can go back to doing their thing. Just like that, the bees are fed. I got one more to do. And you're probably wondering why I don't just let the bees do their own thing. Well, they are doing their own thing, but I'm also supplementing. The reason that I'm supplementing is so that they have more resources available, which naturally turns on their instinct to create a bigger hive, because they know they have the resources to feed everybody. And I want my hive to grow for simply 2 reasons. I got more bees, more pollinators for my gardens, and the faster they grow, the faster I can put honey boxes on and get a little something for myself after I've put the hours and the work into keeping for these bees. So yeah, that's it. That hive inspection took me a total of, I don't know, 10, maybe 15 minutes. And you only want to do that when the temperature is over 70 degrees. So in the winter months, you kind of want to let them be and just hang out. But right now, the weather's warm, they're producing, they're multiplying. And I just want to make sure that, like I said, 1, they have enough room, and 2, that they're not, infested with disease, and they're doing well, and the queen's doing well, and they have no reason to leave. So if you have a garden and you're looking for ways to max out the production, I suggest go ahead and getting some bees. It's fairly inexpensive, and the efforts that you put into it are minimal as well. Once every Saturday for 20 minutes is all it takes for me, and I only get positive results in my garden. So I'm looking for the day that I can have a video of me pulling honey boxes and showing you what I gathered from my efforts. But right now, the bees are loving my garden, and I'm loving them in my garden. So thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And I hope this was cool. I hope it was inspiration, and I'll see you on the next video. Later.